for 2025-2029. Take it away.
Thank you. The first part, I'll just read a little bit off my notes, just so I don't. What did I need to be able to see? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. If you can't, I'll move on. Tonight I'll be presenting the 2025 to 2029 5-year financial plan. The main purpose of this presentation is to provide an opportunity for input from the community of Port Hardy and move towards an adopted financial plan. This financial plan is an action plan that addresses council's strategic priorities. The goals of the financial plan are to maintain a balance between delivering services, meeting the needs of residents and business owners, affordability, and ensuring the long-term fiscal sustainability of the district. The presentation will detail capital projects prioritized for 2025, as well as the recommended 2025 operating budget and its impact on residential property. So the next section will be our capital projects and funding. Oh, there we go. This slide is our general government carry forwards. The road infrastructure had a carry forward of $115,000 last year, and it's been increased to $275,000 to cover patching around the community, including downtown Douglas. The Douglas to Huddleston Trail sidewalk is to improve safety for pedestrians, and it's actually underway right now. There's a small portion that was actually paved on the sidewalk in front of the Civic Center. Municipal hall upgrades are coming along. The skateboard revitalization had a soft opening and has been really active. We've got some final touches that'll be underway pretty soon for some art installation and then the grand opening. The welcome sign and carrot, the carvings are completed, are in storage and waiting for installation and additional work to be done at the park. And this picture is the new carrot carving that's where it was being carved. But it's a pretty great picture, I thought. So the carry forwards from new projects this year. We have security upgrades that are, there we go, my notes. Cameras for the pool, arena, visitor center, and the museum. The solar implementation is power and backup reserve batteries for the Fire Hall 1, Public Works Office, and the Municipal Hall, moving away from generator use during power outages. And this is being funded by the Climate Action Fund. The visitor center heating system is an upgrade for efficiency. The municipal hybrid there, the fleet hybrid, is for the municipal inspector. That's an electric, which makes sense.
Hybrid.
Yeah, electric hybrid, which is for helping for use around the community and for traveling to our partnering communities. Housing capacity fund from the government will be used to complete the requirements for Bill 44, which included the housing assessment requirements and the ability to map and test our water, sewer, and storm systems for future development, so we know what is required to support increased housing in the future. Recreation, our carry forward last year, we had the ice resurfacer. That's an electric Olympia, which is expected to be delivered in August. And in our two carry forwards, the two new, not carry forwards, but our two new projects, we have the Arena West Wall, which is the envelope needs to be repaired to prevent further damage. And the engineering assessment is for an assessment on the fire escape stairs. Fire services, the carry forward was the training facility phase 2, which was actually completed in January. And the picture there in the bottom is phase 1 and 2, and that's from back of the fire hall there. The new project is the fire hall solar implementation, and we explained that in under the general government section. The harbor's security system upgrades is cameras as well, which will kind of, this picture has a lot of areas that will be covered under with the cameras.
That's correct,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's for 3 facilities.
Mm,
So that's the same floats, the fishermen's and the sea.
thank you. Transportation services, storm and catch basins are carry forwards every year. And then the new project is the paving and the patching that we talked about in section 1 under the general government. Water, we know that the biggest carry forward on here is the water reservoir, which is, as Jason explained earlier, is well underway. And the reason why we're on stage 1 watering restrictions right now. The new projects is the Kings Lake assessment, and that's for licensing purposes. And the water treatment plant streaming current meter, this installation of this streaming current meter will allow for optimized dosage of water treatment chemicals, lowering the rising cost of water treatment. And it's estimated that the return on investment is about 3 years. We're just ripping them. Sewer services, there's no carry forwards. And here again, the largest one on the new projects is the wastewater treatment plant centrifuge. It's past its life cycle, and this includes electrical and building upgrades to accommodate the new piece of equipment. The trusty like lift station generator is a towable diesel generator to help with power outages. And the airport wastewater treatment plant blower replacement is in order to reduce operating costs at the airport wastewater treatment plant. The installation of the upgraded blower motor has an automated shutoff system that's going to be installed. Right now it runs continuously. So this illustrates the consolidated capital plan by district service area and major funding. You can see on the bottom of the 2025 column that the capital priority projects were 6.4 million. And compared to last year was 6.6, so a decrease of 274,000. Even with our large capital projects this year, I thought that was worth noting. And then that includes the capital portion of the presentation.
Thank you.
And then moving on to operational services and the funding and expenditures. Yeah, we can see if there's any questions, a good idea.
Before everybody's is lost.
Yeah, on capital.
Yeah.
Questions, anyone? Lovely photos. Yes.
Okay, moving on to operational services. So we can see at the top line, property taxation, recommending a rate increase of 4.95%. Sale of services, 4.59. The other revenue that has the increase of 15.67%. That revenue is made up of penalties and interest, so bank interest, penalties on taxes, and public works chargeouts. Then the moving down where we see the 17.78, the bottom line for government transfers. The government transfers has increased by that 17.78% or 333,000. Some of that's the BC active transportation and the provincial housing capacity. Net operations revenue increased by 8.85% or 821,000 compared to 2024. And that's on our bottom line there where the change over 24 is.
Can I add what the question will be?
Yeah, the biggest part of this. Yeah.
Is the
is
biggest
transfers.
Yeah, is the transfer. So the biggest question will be, is our total net operational revenues is 8.85%, but our taxation is only 4.95%. And that's because we're bringing in more government transfers. And interest, obviously.
Mhm. And this kind of explains what Heather just said too, is that the biggest
Right.
portion of our revenue is 43% with the government transfers. And now the property taxation at 25%, that's including your payment in lieu of taxes and the Vancouver Island Regional Lottery Levy. Now, the PILTS has now changed to a new name of grants in place, so you'll start seeing GIP in place of that going forward. And then we've got 27% with the sale of services.
So there'll be not pilts, there'll be gyps.
There'll be GIPs.
Or GIPs.
GIPs. Our operation expenditures comes to the 8.85, and the overall total expenditure increase is 821 over 2024. For balance, so you get those transfers and expenses increase to go with along with your revenue. Does anybody have any questions on the expenditures? Most of them were pretty even. I think that the protective services increases because we've increased with the new.
Yeah, so we've increased year over year for the ramping up to the full-time chief position. So what we did is we divided the cost over the 2 years and divided it so that we would be incrementally raising that rate, so that we'd be ready for it in 2026. And then there's some protective services as well in there that are also grant funded. So we have a $40,000 grant that's coming in to cover off on training. If you look at governmental services as well, included in that $187,000 increase is that $110,000 grant for that assessment, because that's part of our local government services. So that's the assessment to make sure that all of our water, sewer, and storm systems are adequate for future development. And then I think the only other one in transportation services that would have increased, the reason you got the transportation increase went up too, because just the way we moved the budgets around as well, just to make sure that they aligned with what was currently being done rather than what was being budgeted. So we moved some things around as well.
We moved that inspection stuff over to the fire department as well.
Yeah. There's some pie.
Yeah, and here's the pie, and you see that Parks and Recreation is our big one, 22%, and then it's kind of like 17% goes down. You can see that far. Yes. And then impact on residential property. So this is impact on residential property, not on single family residence, because we haven't got to the point where we can have that tax rate set completely until we get all the information from BC assessment. But on the bottom, when we look at the change for the recycling at 3% and garbage, water and sewer, those are, if we break those down, recycling is $16.49 per quarter. And garbage, $40.51 per quarter. The water is $133.44 and sewer $139.35. And that concludes my presentation. More questions? Or should we go back? Shut it off, that's it.
Yeah, I can navigate a little bit better this way.
Questions or comments?